Your credit score can drop even when you think you are doing everything right. You pay something on time, you don't max out every card, and then suddenly your score falls. A lot of people think credit scores are random. They are not. Usually, the drop happens for a reason you didn't notice. Maybe your balance was reported at the wrong time. Maybe you opened a new account. Maybe you closed an old card. Maybe one small mistake is quietly hurting you every single month. In this video, I'll break down the most common reasons your credit score keeps dropping. The first big reason is simple: late payments. And no, I do not mean a little late in your head. I mean late enough to be reported. One missed payment can hurt more than people expect, especially if your score was already decent. A lot of people think, it's only one bill, I'll catch up next week. But credit systems do not care about your intention. They care about reported behavior. That is why auto-pay, reminders, and checking your due dates matter so much. If you want one habit that protects your score more than most people realize, it is this: never miss a due date. Because once a payment is reported late, the damage is already done. The second reason is high credit utilization. This is one of the most common reasons people see a sudden drop. You might be paying on time and still losing points because your balances look too high compared to your credit limits. For example, if you have a $1,000 limit and your card reports an $800 balance, that can make your usage look risky. Even if you plan to pay it off soon, the score can still react to what gets reported. This is why someone can say, "But I paid my card," and still wonder why the score went down. Timing matters. Reported balance matters. If your cards look heavily used, your score can fall. The third reason is opening too many new accounts in a short period of time. Every time you aggressively apply for cards or financing, you can create more pressure on your profile. To lenders, that can look like risk. It can look like you suddenly need money, or you are taking on too much new credit too fast. This is why chasing every welcome bonus or every new offer can backfire if you do it carelessly. More accounts is not always better. Better is better. A clean, stable profile usually looks stronger than a chaotic one. The fourth reason surprises a lot of people: closing old cards. People think closing a card is always smart because it feels responsible. Sometimes it is, but sometimes it hurts your score. Why? Because an older card can help your credit history look longer and more stable. And if you close a card, you may also reduce your total available credit, which can make your utilization jump. So if you close a card with a large limit, your overall profile can suddenly look more stretched, even if your spending did not change much. That is why cutting up a card and closing the account are not always the same decision. The fifth reason is a quiet trap: only paying the minimum. Technically, paying the minimum can keep you from being marked late, but it can still leave you carrying balances month after month. That means interest keeps building, and your utilization may stay high. So even though you are not missing payments, your profile can still look weaker than you think. This is where many people get stuck. They believe they are being responsible because they are paying something, but in reality, the balance barely moves, and the interest keeps eating money, and the score does not recover the way they hoped. It can react to when the balance was reported. The sixth reason is balance reporting timing. This is the one many beginners do not understand. Your score does not only react to whether you paid, it can react to when the balance was reported. You may pay your card in full by the due date, but if a high balance was already reported before that payment, your score might still dip temporarily. That is why some people look at their score and think something is broken. Nothing is broken. The reporting cycle just caught the balance at the wrong moment. Understanding this one detail can save you a lot of confusion. The seventh reason is something people ignore for too long: errors. Sometimes the problem is not your behavior. Sometimes the report contains inaccurate information, outdated balances, duplicate accounts, or payment issues that should not be there. Most people never check until something goes wrong. That is a mistake if your score drops and you cannot explain it. Checking your credit report should be one of the first things you do, not the last. So what should you actually do if your credit score keeps dropping? Start with the basics. First, make every payment on time. Second, lower the balances that get reported on your cards. Third, stop opening random new accounts just because an offer looks tempting. Fourth, think carefully before closing old cards. Fifth, review your credit reports and look for problems. And most importantly, stop expecting your score to behave like a straight line. Credit scores move. What matters is whether your habits are improving the direction over time. Here is a simple action plan. Set autopay for at least the minimum payment. Use calendar reminders a few days before each due date. Try to keep reported balances lower, not just paid eventually. Avoid applying for multiple new cards in a short period unless you have a clear reason. Keep older accounts open when it makes sense. And check your credit reports regularly so you can catch mistakes before they become bigger problems. Small actions, repeated consistently, usually beat dramatic moves. If your credit score is dropping, do not panic. Most of the time, it is not random and it is not permanent. It is usually the result of a few patterns that can be identified and improved. Once you understand how those patterns work, your score becomes easier to manage. And that means better options, less financial stress, and fewer expensive mistakes. If you want, the next step is learning how credit cards actually work, because that is where many score problems begin. Thanks for watching. More simple finance videos every week.